Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high up at the Keep in the Hot Air Balloon. Tonight, as always, I have Neindorf with me. Neindorf, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited about more DFK content with this warrior. We'll have to dive in.
Yeah, I brought up the whole patch notes in the background. Let's just jump. Well, let's do intros first, and then we'll
All
we'll
right.
we'll jump into it. So, what have you been up to lately? It's been a minute since we've chatted.
It has, yeah. I mean, honestly, when you got 6 or 7 boar hunting teams, I feel like that takes a lot of free time these days.
Yeah, no doubt.
Uh,
Do you have six teams going live? How often are you boar hunting a day? How many teams?
I'm trying to get if I so honestly, I've got 3 teams on my Holiday social account just because it's actually on Brave, the browser on my phone. It actually plays fairly nice.
Mm?
Granted, the numbers are a little tiny, but you kind of know what you're doing after you've done so many hunts that you kind of know what to look for.
Yep.
Um, so those are just easy. Like if I'm waiting for something to happen, it's like a 5 minute game. So those I feel like I can get out pretty easy. But then my
Nice.
more difficult ones I left on the computer, so I got to kind of log in and pay attention a little more closely. Maybe some of my off teams, off meta teams or whatever.
That's a lot more than me. I'm really if I get two teams in a night, that's kind of what I'm going for. And I have been switching up my teams a lot, especially with Warrior. Um,
Oh yeah.
and I had a team that was all archers, and I broke them up. Supposedly that was nerf, but I guess we'll read about that here in the patch notes.
All right.
Okay, so let's start right into topic one of the night, which is learning. And I think we can, really discuss patch notes being a big part of that. And I need to fix my OBS screen.
It's close.
Not very.
Uh,
Oh, technical difficulties. That's why you come to the ADFK pod.
that's right.
All right. That's not too bad.
Nah, I like it.
I'll zoom up to this top here. There is a lot to go through. So,
Dude, no
first
doubt.
off, there was a bit of a debate or set of questions amongst our Discord of what does this new dynamic stats thing
Yeah.
really mean? Um, or I guess, yeah, so the dynamic stats. We'll get into that in a little bit. I'm confused. I don't know if you have any more light to shed on this. I think we're a little uncertain of where this is going to be. I was talking to Hubert before he went on vacation, and I feel like I have a growing list of Hubert questions. We're going to bring him onto the pod once he's back from vacation, so
Oh, I love it.
we'll have to make sure we deep dive into. I had equipment on the list, and then dynamic stats. We'll go deep there. All right, so first
Perfect.
off, let's go with passing a turn. This seems smart. I like having this feature. There was definitely times where I did not want to trigger the mama boar by killing a baby boar, and we were better off just passing. And you didn't really have that ability before.
No, I feel like I ended up doing like, here, let me give somebody a potion or let me reposition my heroes,
Right. Shuffling.
inopportunistically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing a little truffle shuffle. All right. So dynamic stats. I'll read it out loud, and maybe it'll make some sense as we go along. We adjusted some
Perfect.
existing skills to stop using flat stat modifiers. For example, 0.05 strength, and instead use a dynamic stat multiplier of 2 strength.s. Dynamic stats show how well your hero's specific stat does compared to other heroes of the same level and can range from 1% to over 10% returns. Returns above 10% are diminished by a factor of 3 to ensure game balance. By doing so, heroes that excel at a specific stat play will feel more rewarding. For example, knights with a high strength are intimidating and more successful at taunting their opponent compared to knights with a comparatively low strength stat. So, here's do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I would let you go to first. You go first, please.
Here's
I'm still digesting.
here's my I feel like there's two conflicting statements. I feel like here they say heroes with above 10% stats are diminished by a factor of 3 to ensure game balance. And to me, it feels like they're saying a completely conflicting opposite statement the very next sentence. It says heroes that
Yeah.
excel in a specific stat will feel more rewarding. And I don't know what the odds are of, you know, like how what percent of heroes this will impact, but we've been stat maxis for a while over in the ADFK guild,
Oh yeah.
and it feels like if your stats are extra high that they would be significantly impacted. Like if you had a hero, let's just say if you had an archer that you were going after like super dex, you're going to be above the 10% average right now. And I feel
I would
like
think
that's
so.
that's taking away from the possibility of you crippling boars. And yeah, it is, the game is going to be a little unbalanced when that happens, when people are min maxing, but that's kind of what we're going for when we're doing that. So I'd love to see
Right.
if there's some YouTube comments out there. um Sticks intern is here. Yes, good, we have a big brain in the house that can help us. um so that's my first piece there, and I think there was some confusion in our chat. So I don't know. We could move on if there's nothing else to talk about with dynamic stats.
Yeah, I think it's just the part I don't like about it is there's that almost hidden nature to it. Like you can't immediately see it or calculate it without kind of knowing the universe of heroes, right?
I don't know. I guess I haven't looked at a dynamic stat formula and see if it gives you an understanding of where you are compared to other heroes, but I feel like that's needed.
It feels like that builds into the calculation here.
Right.
And that's just kind of odd because A, how are they tracking that data, to make these comparisons?
Can
And
we API that
can I
data?
have that
Because
data?
right. we we're
Oh,
thinking the same thing at the exact same time.
oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see that data. So that'd be great for the hero data page to and we've thought about this before, but
Oh, no doubt.
cataloging all those stats, I mean, it's a pain in the butt.
Sure is.
All right. So, updated accuracy formula, you have a higher chance for standard attacks to hit. Um, I guess, or a hero that has dex and focus requirements of the weapon they're using. So you should be more likely to hit with your squire style weapons. That's what these are called, right? Squire weapons.
Yes. Yep, that is correct. And we know that because of the fancy Excel sheet that
Yeah.
was floating around.
Maybe we should share a link to that too. All
We
right.
probably should.
Um, yeah. Can you drop that in YouTube chat while I'm going on to the next group here? Okay.
Yes.
Basic attack accuracy increase. That's good. All right. So now some changes to daze, stun, and taunt. All right. So I'll just read aloud here. We've been
Sure.
doing some tweaks with everyone's favorite status effects. We've increased the 50% daze stun resistance duration for combatants who have been affected by either status effect on turn from 1 turn to 2 turns. Additionally, the following effect is added. Gain resistance, gain 50% stun daze resistance for 2 turns. This resistance becomes 100% for 3 turns if stunned, dazed again while the resistance is in effect. So it's made it so if you get stunned twice, you can't get stunned a third time, which is stopping perma stuns. I don't know of anyone who is building a perma stun build, but this seems like a quality of life improvement for PvP in the future. Is kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It could have been broken if you could have a hero that effectively never goes. So yeah, I'm totally behind. I think these are great balance changes.
Yeah. Taunt itself got a bigger rework. Occasionally, a lucky self recovery could throw a battle into disarray when an unplanned rampage decimated a so far successful team. Therefore, taunt will no longer be cleansable. Instead, if a
Uh,
taunted combatant takes damage from someone other than the taunter, there is a chance for the taunt to break. So keep
Yeah,
that
I
in
can
mind.
attest to that one.
Yeah, this one will be hard to remember. I'm not sure how I like this change, to be honest, but willing to give it a
Yeah,
try.
for the boar hunts, I was totally in a situation where I had the mama bear taunted and I killed a baby. And then I was like, my archer, or I was about to kill the baby, and my archer was going to do too much, kind of too much damage with the power move, but not enough damage with the basic attack. So I'm like, let me choose the one that like pierces and maybe could hit a couple guys. And then after I launched, I was like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, she broke out of her taunt and rampaged the crap out of me.
Yeah, I'd rather have a random self recovery percentage chance than breaking the taunt, but by still doing damage. But I don't know. I guess we're splitting hairs here.
Right.
That's why they don't ask me for my opinion.
uh,
All right, so we're gonna go down past taunt and get to warrior. One of my favorite heroes that I have, level 15, Gen 0. He is a warrior, and I've been using him now. And I've tried the gladiator and bloodthirst variants. And so let's first off look at the skill codex and the new mechanics here. So cleave. Attacks
nice.
with cleave hit both the target and the position immediately behind the target. Execute. When a target is less than X% remaining HP, kill the target. Lifesteal. Damage dealt returns X% as HP. Repose. If a target has X% repose, when physical damage is received, deal X% of the damage back to the attacker. This damage cannot be dodged or blocked. And slow. Reduces the current speed by X%. Stacks of slow add together. All right. Warrior's weapon proficiency also allow them to use one hand, a shield or a two-handed weapon. By default, the Hunter's Guild lends them a one-handed mace or shield. The mace has a 5% chance to daze upon hitting, which applies to both basic attacks and damage dealing abilities. All right, so we have the tier 1 skills. Gladiator.
Which way did you go, you said?
I tried both Gladiator, the Path 1, and Path 3.
Mhm. Okay.
Path 3 being the Bloodthirst, and Path 1 being Gladiator. Um, Gladiator, I felt kind of stuck out with the HP boost
Ah,
in the tier 2 skill. And the Bloodthirst, obviously, it is what it sounds like, has the ability to steal some life steal going on here. So really, I looked at kind of those tier 2 skills as really the defining what it appears to me as how you would, what's the play style of that
okay.
hero.
Did you see the question I posted into our guild strategy chat earlier?
I did not.
So looking through these, maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Sorry if I am, but there's the one towards the bottom that's Furious Cleave, and I think that's where basic attacks gain cleave, which if I'm not mistaken, that means that they do a little bit less damage, but you hit the first two heroes
Uh-huh.
or enemies rather.
Yep.
So my question is does that combine with the bottom one that's called Rapid Onslaught?
I believe it
Because
does.
I feel like that could be like super crazy if you can basically get four hits on two, so you get 8 hits basically.
Yeah. Now, it feels like I'm only hitting 2 of these when I've used it because of that, even though there's like some
Are you
weird,
missing?
there's some accuracy changes going on here, but I feel like I'm not hitting everything.
Oh,
Um,
so there's some misses involved.
yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
because I was like, that feels broken.
it did not, and you have amnesia too. So I mean, you're not like, so that combo, to get your combo off, you have to basic attack strike first, then
Mm-hmm.
you set the combo up for gladiator strike,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can do rapid onslaught after that. It hasn't felt broken to me, but I don't know, maybe I was waiting too long to use Rapid Onslaught in the game, and I should use this right away because I wasn't using that turn 3.
Okay.
I was waiting till more like turn 4 or 5.
Were you were setting up the combo tree too?
I was trying to set up the combo tree. Yeah.
Because I feel like you almost don't need to. Although then
Um,
you don't get some of the boosts, but
you don't get that
man,
accuracy boost, which I feel like is
that's
I
the
don't know.
deal.
I feel like that's needed for sure. And
Right.
your
Okay. All right.
my regular attacks, and I don't know, maybe I have a weak guy. He's a Gen 0. My regular attacks are doing like 38 or 40. Um, maybe if you had like the priest boost to your attack damage, then I could start to see if that would be
Oh,
more
okay.
busted. Um, while we're talking through this, I have just found that my client is incredibly slow. And I don't know if it's because I'm using uh, Chrome
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess
or Edge, whatever I'm using now, but it is. I've just found it has been so laggy, and it's not my internet connection.
slow making like
Just
playing the game, you mean, or
yeah,
just in
yeah, just
general?
your selections.
Oh yeah, I've honestly that's where it's bizarre. I feel like it goes the fastest on my phone, which is another reason I've been playing on there, which makes no real sense, but
Yeah.
we do what we must.
All right, so let's get a warrior out here, going and rolling. We're gonna go with this other Gen Zero warrior I have. So I'm gonna try putting a priest in the background. We're gonna try putting an archer behind him, and then my warrior.
All right,
All right, so this
because
warrior.
I have a tendency. I want to try warrior. I haven't actually done it yet, but I've got a level 17 PJ warrior
Oh,
that's
nice.
legendary, but I really want to do it with a he's 17, right? So I want to find a level
Yeah,
10
ease into
priest
it.
and a level 3.
Ease into it for sure.
Like I really want to try a level 3 hero with that 10, so I average out at level 10 levels. And so my level 17 warrior and with like some high super damage,
Yeah.
I really want to try it.
All right, I have Prayer of Might, which increases my attack damage. So we'll
And they
do.
did they lengthen that to 2 turns now, I think too, didn't they? Or no, there was some buff on it, not turn length. What was it?
Well, let's go down and read that after I click start.
Because I feel like that got tweaked.
Oh, and I'm not sharing my screen right now um, on OBS. So I will fix that here in a moment once I jump back to. All right, so we're gonna zoom down to reading what the priest change was. Yeah, we got a
Maybe
lot
where
of
it wasn't.
changes to go through.
Oh
Prayer
gosh,
of
yeah.
Might attack. Change the attack percentage granted from
So they just made it
30
formula based.
to oh they changed it to the relative
The goofy one that we're
the
not really
relative
sure how to
stat
read
system
yet.
where yeah we're like what does this mean? Okay. All right, so let me bring this up
And this is where I almost want to use Prayer of Might on a crew I've run in the past and go back and watch replays.
and see what it's done.
Yeah, to try to get a comparison because it's tough.
All right, we got a multi-shot going off. Oh
Oh,
boy,
I
these
love this.
guys do not have a
The
lot of
Warriors looks
initiative.
cool.
Yeah, I really like the warrior moves. Oh, that's gonna be a problem. All
They're
right, so
awful pushy.
let's start with just slapping this boar around. Okay,
60 is pretty good.
that was a good attack. All right, so now we are going to increase the attack damage of the warrior. And this is only for one turn, you're right. So maybe I'll have to do it 2 times in a row here.
But you unlocked his um second combo chain, right?
I did, yeah.
So getting extra boost on that seems pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So now we're in first part of the combo. Well, once it's our turn. Hey. Okay, so now here Gladiator Strike is going. So now I'll deal a lot of raw damage, and then we'll use Rapid Onslaught next, which is once we unlock the next. Okay, so that stinks. Because that broke the combo, didn't it? If I miss,
It just says you have to use it, doesn't it?
I think it breaks the combo.
I
We'll
mean, that would
use
kind of make
we'll
sense.
use a prayer might just to see if I don't actually know that. I'm really picking on my archer now.
I do love it though when they push someone to the front and then it's a more evasive hero and then they miss a couple and it's like that serves you right.
Yeah, we'll reposition it and start over. Okay, my combo is active. Okay, so that does work. So even if you miss. All right,
Nice.
so I have a 82%
Whew.
chance to hit. So actually, let's see what this does. And it did not cleave though.
Do you have the fourth tier ability?
Oh, I don't with this guy.
Yeah, you got to get to that fourth tier.
Oh, at level 15. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I wasn't thinking. I thought I had that with this guy. Yeah, that's a good call.
And do you know, so you're level 15, you have to get to what, 16 or so to get to that?
No, you do have to get to or maybe it's 14.
Or 14 gets you there?
Yeah, with my level 15 guy, I do have that ability on. Is what I was trying to
Oh,
say.
perfect.
But I didn't test this particular strategy.
I follow you. But either way, I learned something right away. You don't actually have to make contact for the combo chain to go.
Yeah.
So you basically just have to worry about getting taunted, really.
Right. And so with this one, I find that I'm just kind of oscillating between these. And I haven't used this move much. I used it one other time. It looks cool. The whirlwind.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. I've not seen some of
The
this.
whirlwind looks
Oh,
good.
that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. It exhausts you,
Oh,
but all right. So we'll drop a big heal. I like this heal over time.
oh, yeah, me too.
Okay, we got a wild charge going, so we need to stop screwing around. Sometimes I like to see just how much that. Nope. I'm not going to skip. I'll have time to. Oh, I dazed him. That's not good, because that stops wild charge.
Yeah, just don't kill a baby. Which you probably be all right.
That that big heal, Holy Beacon, takes a lot of mana.
It does. But hitting everybody in your team, like especially after a wild charge, that can be like super critical.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and just. I get too impatient. If my game will play. This isn't making very good viewing content. Yeah, this is what it's
Giving
been
you
like.
the
This is what it's been like for me when I played. I don't know. So you're saying it's better experience on Brave and
I've not
Paladin?
well, yeah, on my phone, honestly, I've not been having as much trouble, which is the weirdest part. So that's where I'm like, it doesn't make any sense that, you know,
Yeah,
the phone would play better. Sweating,
yeah.
sweating it out.
Sweating on these noobs.
Yep.
I go over to YouTube.
Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to YouTube. Sorry if there's any
Yeah.
questions out there.
I just go glad strike into flurry. It says sticks intern.
Ooh,
Ooh, yowzers.
there was not a lot of missing going on there, was there?
Yeah, no, there wasn't. I'm gonna heal myself first here. And we got a lot of exhaustion on the team good guys. Look at this.
uh, look at all those icons. What does all this mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of icons.
It definitely takes a bit of learning, but I feel like having played quite a few games, I really do like their system. And remember when we
Me
first
too.
heard about the them talking about using the initiative concept?
Yeah,
And I think it's absolutely critical.
I love it. It's a better game because of it. That's for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yes. And so we like to see them keep playing it forward.
Boy, we're gonna have to stop watching me play because this is just no fun for you or for me. All right.
Well, I mean, we can move on to I mean, I love this though. I really like those moves. I think it's another fresh take on this.
Yeah. All right. So let's scoot up. And so Sticks intern was saying that he was using Gladiator Strike into Flurry.
Okay.
What move is Flurry? I don't know what move he's talking. Furious Cleave.
Isn't there? I'd have to bring it up. I think there might be
I
a.
got it back up on screen now. I think. Yeah, showing on screen.
Yep, yep.
Whirlwind. Please clarify, Sir Sticks and
Uh,
intern.
playing it forward. Baller Fred. Yeah. The four hits. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. So that's the one I was trying to use too, which is the Rapid Onslaught.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So Void Hunts, boar HP scaling at higher levels. The mama boar and her babies can get very beefy. So they've adjusted down the boar HP scaling. Boar behavior changes. So for every turn the mom doesn't channel her wild boar when it's available, she'll gradually increase the chance to start channeling the following turn. I like that for that very reason, that there's been times where the fight's dragging on forever and she has not done her wild charge yet. And that's
Yep.
typically your opening to do well.
Yeah, especially if you don't have a hero that can taunt her. You're like, well, you at some point you have to risk a rampage, basically.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go through the changes to the existing classes. I typically use the Flurry, and so it changed the critical strike. So these are all changes to be based on the population of dexterity instead of a raw dex stat.
Right.
Again, kind of with how these numbers are changed, it's so hard to tell, like, what it went from and to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to play a bunch of games and kind of like get a sense of but it's gonna be like I feel like this is better. It's not gonna be oh, I know.
Yeah.
That's where it's kind of odd. I do
Repeat
have
Repeating
a
shot just got totally nerfed. Well,
yeah.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is absolutely nerfed, and not in a trying to emphasize the word, but is in the it's not relative. It's just a nerf.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I interrupted you. What were you gonna say?
I I'm trying to. Oh yeah. So I need to try some of these out again with the level 15 archer I have that's got I think 52 decks, just to see if like because I feel like it's at the maybe well actually no we should ask France. He's got that super dex archer, right?
He does.
We should see if he's what he sees. If he sees like what did it say? It should be noticeably more rewarding. Let's see. Let's
Yeah.
see if it is.
Let's see if it's noticeably more rewarding. I like that. All right. So repeating shots nerfed. One small stone. Crit strike is also nerfed. Dead aim is getting plus 5% accuracy. So that's a small buff.
Mm-hmm.
Sharpshooter as well. Chance to inflict. That's also just another one. So of these relative stats. So we can't really comment on that yet.
Right.
All right, knights. I feel like there's a lot of changes here.
Mm-hmm.
So 10% increased chance to hit the enemy on challenge, so your taunts are more likely to hit. I feel like that's good.
Yes. Yeah, that helps.
Mighty strike, reduced damage. That's disappointing. I like the damage on that one.
Yeah, I mean, luckily though, it didn't take it down a ton.
Yeah,
So I think it's still a viable option.
yeah. They're really trying to boost the physical defense track here.
Well, yeah, and
Shield
then I
up.
think they said they wanted him
Yeah.
to feel more tanky.
Mm-hmm. Block from 10% to 15%. Wow. In 3 turns.
Yeah, that seems like a huge skill.
Decrease physical defense. Yeah, that is huge. Look at that buff.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And what I guess, as we go through these, maybe for our listeners, I think my number one takeaway is I was really curious to see what sort of systems they had in place to monitor and track user play styles and choices.
Hmm.
And I think what I'm learning here is they must have something fairly sophisticated,
Yeah.
which is exactly what I wanted to hear. So maybe we need to take some notes and maybe we can sneak a little info out of Hubert if we get
Mr.
him
Hubert,
on
for
about
sure.
what it is, what sort of system have they developed? Because I mean, and I'm a bit of a nerd, but that sort of system seems really cool to me. And how do you know, gather that amount of data from this huge amount of hunts and distill it into meaningful change?
Yeah. I like that. That's a great point.
So
So
stay tuned, everybody. We'll see if we can pull some nuggets.
so here they're saying high int priest. So moving on to the priest now. High int stats will now result in even more a noticeable attack buff. Additionally, prayer protection was overshadowed by healing and other shield skills due to relatively high costs, and so they're tuning those down. All right,
You know,
so yeah,
raising the damage on a priest to me, I mean, I know I did very little, but it felt like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's a priest. Like, sure, my 35 damage doesn't do much, but it stacks over time, right? If you got a spare turn, why not do 35 damage? So, I mean,
I
buffing
agree.
it, I don't know that was necessary, but I'll take it, I guess.
I like it too. All right, back to my slow game. All right, so while that's going in the background, um, profit is the next section that we wanted to go through tonight. Any
Sure.
profit that you want to comment on or that you've been making lately?
Well, today, it was just a matter of just holding any ETH or something because I was watching the markets a little bit and it retook over 2,000 again. ETH did, which I was pretty excited about.
Nice.
So that one was a profit, if you will. Just happened to got ETH in my gardens and actually
Yeah.
should go look because a lot of it probably converted into Jewel.
Hopefully
So
not
maybe
too
it wasn't
much
super
impermanent
profitable.
loss. Yeah.
Uh,
Um, I would say for me, I've been still chugging away at just selling Gen 1 10 out of 10s when my Gen 0 summon together and, just busting those guys out. I have a collection of Gen 0s that also often make a advanced ability. And those extra
hmm
advanced abilities I sell for, Gen 1 10 out of 10, 450 to 550 depending on rarity, crystal,
Yeah.
which is a lot. I mean,
And
it really keeps the engine turning for playing the game.
it does. You're absolutely right. And I have my Gen Zeros on Serendale too. That's there so that I'll basically spend 60 jade that was locked, and then you convert that into, like you said, 400 crystal. It's like it feels like a win.
Smart. All right,
Are you,
so
speaking of which, are you doing anything? Are you doing any questing on Serendale lately, or are you kind of abandoned that side?
um, I've been trying to just get the bot to run smoothly for a couple days. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to load up a whole bunch more clay,
Ah,
um,
yes.
which has been painful. I've been thinking about just stopping it entirely, um,
Sure.
and not questing over on Serendale.
Yeah, I I definitely understand that. I don't. There are a lot of quests that run, and we have our bot that it calculates, and it basically tells you what's your yield, your inputs minus your costs. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of quests that are negative. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but what I've noticed recently, and I was just trying to find on our market data page, I feel like Swift Thistle is still a fairly decent play. Um, where is it? Yeah, here we go. It's trading at about 2.2 joule. So if you have decently leveled up guys, you can find a Swift Thistle fairly often, and for 2/10 of a joule, or which is kind of similar to the price of clay, you can pay for a fair amount of gas. But
I
but
did.
again, you
I traded in actually 48 Swift Thistle the other day
see there you have it.
for clay.
And I know we kind of talked about this on the side too, as a little conversation we were having. Like, are these questers making anything? Are they costing money? Are they earning money? And it's hard to really say if you're not tracking it. But all I know is I feel like if I need to go buy a regular crystal or a lesser stone, it feels like I always have the mats on hand to sell, and I don't have to bring new money in necessarily. So I don't have there's no real data there other than a gut feel, but I feel like they're still bringing home the bacon.
Yeah. And, I feel like just like we're seeing once these classes release, it's nice having level 10 guys that might
Oh
also
yeah.
be good boar hunters. And so, kind of just getting guys up to level 10 might pay dividends in the future. Like you said in one of our chats, like hold off unless they're a PvP hero or an all-star quester, like not using your moksha runes and saving
hmm
instead saving those.
Yeah, and then I definitely went completely counter to that, and then I just before stream here I leveled up my number one gardener. Although he is gardening on a pool where he gets almost 2 joule every quest run, so I rationalized it, but I went to level 17 with my rare summoner, so that was like a $4 level up, and it's like, oof, yeah, 450 probably.
I think I'm gonna flee on this game. That is after my priest got knocked out.
Yeah, it's
That's a losing proposition.
340 damage is rough. Like that's just a lot for a wild charge.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's kind of close up tonight with any community topics that you want to go through.
I'm trying to think if I don't have any notes here in front of me. I don't remember if there's anything I wanted to bring up or not. Do we have anything planned on our books for ADFK that you're aware of?
Just that we're working on the Thanksgiving dungeon.
Yep.
So we're hoping on having that release at the end of the month when we hit Thanksgiving timeline. So that's what we got. We're developing some other stuff in the background, but We gotta. Those are still some half-baked ideas in the oven.
Yeah, I've been hunting too many boars. It's been taking away all my site dev time. Although I did get, I have gotten two pieces of equipment now, the blade and a staff.
Oh,
So
good for you. Have you sold them, or
I
are you
feel like
playing with them?
I sold the blade and I'm trying to sell the staff. I should go check. That's on my holiday wall. I should see if it actually sold. Um, I haven't been. I don't have that one linked to the ADFK website, so it's a little harder for me to just go double check what's happening there.
And what are
Um,
those? What's equipment selling for these days?
so I've been kind of following the equipment sales page on the main ADFK,
Uh-huh.
and it seems as though the mid 1700s or so are where the staffs are at, and the Gore blades are still like 2300 somewhere in that neighborhood. So pretty profitable. I mean, you get one equipment drop and you can fund a lot of boar hunts. That's kind of the way I looked at it with my sales. That way I can keep playing and not have to, you know, if I got to go sell a hero or something. So that was my kind of rationalization.
Yeah, yeah. Is that like $15 or $17 then?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Nice, nice. All right. Well, that's all I had for tonight. Thanks for jumping on and joining me. Thanks for tuning in at home. Hope you guys have a great night.